What do you do when you have major life changes, especially life changes that affect our income, also life changes that affect our expenses? Now, this video comes at a time when we're having a number of changes. We're having different organizations merging, we're having job losses, we are having funds, being pulled out, USAID leaving. When these events happen, how do you navigate them, and how can you have mindsets that will take you through in terms of how you're managing your money? Hi, I'm Gabriela, and this is a personal finance and coffee podcast. And on this channel, we talk about money and how to manage it. It's one thing to make the money, and it's another to manage it well. How do we manage the money that we make so that we're able to invest it, to grow it, and it helps us attain the goals that we want, so that we don't feel like 5 years later, 10 years later, where did my money go? That's what we talk about on this channel. If you find this interesting, please like, please subscribe, so that you don't miss upcoming episodes. So, today we're going to look at what do you do when you have major life changes, especially life changes that affect our income, also life changes that affect our expenses. Now, this video comes at a time when we're having a number of changes. We're having different organizations merging, we're having job losses, we are having funds, being pulled out, USAID leaving. All this comes with loss of income. It comes with financial strains, and that means that we have to think differently. Now, when that is one way, that is loss of income. You could also have a change, not necessarily in regards to the merger or USAID leaving, but generally you've lost your job, or the company you're in is closing, or business is not working as well anymore. So you can have a loss of income. Another form of life change could be in the form of increase in expenses. You could have a medical illness that increases, like the expenses shoot up the roof, and this may not be one that is short term. It may be like a long-term journey that you're undertaking, a diagnosis. It could also come in the form of you're having a new child, in addition to the family, a bundle of joy, and this too comes with increase in expenses. In my scenario, my last born is going to school, so which comes with the increase in school fees that we've been paying. The question is, when these events happen, how do you navigate them, and how can you have mindsets that will take you through in terms of how you're managing your money? Now, what do you do? Let's start with the practical tips. You've got the news, you're now aware of this change, or you've been aware of it for a while, but you've just been putting it, you're stressed, but you're like, I'll come to it, but not knowing where to even start, feeling overwhelmed. The first thing that I think needs to be done, or the first thing that I would do, is make an appointment with yourself, make an appointment with your spouse, any person that you deal with your finances, any person that you work on your finances with. If you're dealing with them alone, set that appointment. Where are you going to have the meeting, and what day and what time? Why is this important? Every time you say, I will think about it, it is so much easier to go for what is not difficult. After you've had a long day at work, and the children are, they're calling you, mommy this, daddy this, and you're stressed. The last thing you want to do is now think about your situation and how it's going to affect your finances. That is not the mood. All you want to do is watch a movie, all you want to do is scroll on your phone, whatever form of leisure you prefer. So, it's very important to make that appointment, because when you know where you're supposed to be and when you're going to be there, the chances of resisting it and procrastinating it are a little less. For example, if you say Saturday at 10 a.m., I'm going to sit at Cafe Java's. Which Cafe Java's? Cafe Java's Kambocha, and that is where I will be. Keep that appointment as though you're meeting your boss there. That is the first thing. Now, the second thing is to decide on what are you going to do when you get there, These are the things that work for me. Some people don't process this way. If you can do this in your house at the dining table, feel free. Personally, I think better when I'm in a different environment. I don't think I can. I struggle to have such thoughts in the same environment that I'm used to. I like a change of environment. If I don't have money, guys, I'll sit there and buy a bottle of water or a bottle of soda and sit for 1 hour or 30 minutes to accomplish what I've gone there to do. So if your restraint is finances, let go of that expectation that every time you go out, you have to eat a full meal. You know, if you have money for a full meal, fine. If you have money for a cup of tea, fine. If you have money for a bottle of water or a bottle of soda, it is well. The point is to pick an environment and set the appointment. Now, the second thing that is important is what are you going to do when you get there? Because you will get there and the time will pass and you'll feel like you've done nothing. Set the agenda. Now you may feel like, but Gabi, you're too intense. You know, so many people tell me that I'm too intense. But guys, these things don't just happen. You have to be like intentional about it. And every time we procrastinate. Now, every time we procrastinate, I made an episode recently about my takeaways from a book, The Subtle Art, and I'll have it linked. And I was explaining that this victim mindset, that book really helped me to let go of things are happening to me. That feeling of, you see the economy is bad, what am I supposed to do? I've started businesses, they've not worked, what am I going to do? The cost of living is going up, now what do I do? You get like that victim mindset. I struggled with it a lot. You guys, I struggled with that book. I'm still struggling, I have my seasons, but for me that book really helped me. Now, why I'm bringing it up is this. When you set the intention that I'm going to sit here at this time and on this day, and then you make the agenda, it doesn't even have to be long, guys. You can say 3 things. I'm going to sit there and write my new budget. What is your new realistic budget? Because you've had life changes, your income has changed, and then your expenses have changed, depending on what your situation is. Look at the accurate, realistic numbers as of today. That is one of the things you can have on your agenda. Another thing you could have on your agenda is, based on these life changes, based on these changes in my situations, you can ask yourself, what decisions do I have to take for my lifestyle temporarily that have to change? For example, it could be as drastic as, I cannot afford the house I'm living in anymore, I have to move. Is that a decision you need to take? Is it a decision that I have my car, I've been driving it every day, maybe now I won't drive it as often? It could be a decision. I'm just explaining that this is what decision do you have to take in order for you to make it through today. And why this is important, you might be saying that, but God, before you're only looking at how do I cut expenses, why don't you look at earning more money? I'm getting there. Why it's important to look at how to manage the expenses in this season temporarily is because when you don't do that, you're going to end up living out of your means and accumulating debt simply because you're still living within a lifestyle that you're no longer earning money for. So once you have, this is what my fixed expenses, this is what my new budget looks like, and the math is not mathing, the next step is, what decisions do I have to intentionally manage and cut back on? Then the next step you can now brainstorm on is, how do I make money? What things haven't you tried? What things have you always said, I'm going to do this, and you haven't done? Which phone calls have you said that I'm going to make but you haven't made? Write the actions you're going to take. That is the third thing you can have on your agenda. Now, this is step 2 meanwhile. You've picked the location, you've set an appointment with yourself, you've made the 3 action step agenda for what you're going to talk about in that meeting. Now the third step, make an action list, a results list. What things are you actually going to do? And when are you going to do them? Because you will sit, have that meeting, everything will stay in the air, in the cloud, until you say, I am going to call this person on this day. I am going to, if you want to start a business, are you going to research, or do you want to talk to someone who is in that business? What are you actually going to do? They don't even have to be very many steps, because when you make them too many, you get overwhelmed. You're like, I can start making money online. I can start, I can work remotely. I've seen so many ads. I can become a content creator. then the questions come to you, but what is my niche? I'm not confident. Is my camera okay? When you get overwhelmed, you do nothing. It's like, okay, for me personally, I just freeze. So in this step, this is what I would do. I would then look at what are the next 3-4 steps that I can do after this meeting that will move me a step closer in that direction. That is our third step, the actions that you're going to take. The fourth and the final one, okay. The fourth one that I would recommend is, when is your next meeting? Make your next appointment now. If you say, okay, the actions I've taken, the actions I've written, I can do them in 1 week, I can do them in 2 weeks, I can do them in 3 weeks. Make the next appointment with yourself. When are you going to do it next? You know what I mean? Because when you don't set that next time, you will keep procrastinating, and it will be one of those things that you did once and you never do again. How do you think I know that, guys? I've done it so many times. So many times. So set the next appointment now. It also helps you remain accountable to yourself. I was reading a book. Yes, the 12-week year. There's a book that I read, the 12-week year. And the guy was saying that nobody can hold you accountable apart from yourself. Fine, you can have people that you share what you want to do, and then they check on you. But internally, that accountability has to come from within. It cannot be external. And if you're waiting for someone to, guys, you're waiting a long time. But anyway, so set the next appointment. Over and above, keep trying. These are just my recommendations. These are just some things that have worked for me. And keep trying. Keep trying. Because it takes a while to adjust your lifestyle. It is painful temporarily. But keep in mind, it's not even final. Now, change and growth can be uncomfortable, can be painful, but don't allow this season, don't allow this change to bring you into the scarcity mindset. Keep seeking out knowledge, find books to read, learn from other people what they're doing, because there's nothing new under the sun. We are not the first people to have these kinds of changes. What have other people done, And now it's so easy to find content about what other people are doing. And then the challenge is that we listen, we read, and we stop there. Once we find this content, once you learn different things, again, write 2 action steps from that YouTube video you watch that you're going to do. Because if you just stop at watching the video and you swipe to the next one, it hasn't helped. You'll keep in that cycle. You watch, you learn, you do nothing. You watch, you learn, the month ends, the year ends, you're still in the same place. So once you watch, once you learn, write the action step of what you're going to try and go through the cycle again. Set the appointment, make the agenda, go through the process again. It will keep evolving. Some of the things you'll realize that, I think I want this thing on my agenda. Add what works for you, leave what doesn't. The thing that I want to talk about is when it comes to the mindset. The mindset, because everything begins in our mind. When such a change happens, that voice in your head, that voice in your head that just tells you that it makes you feel like you have failed. How will I ever recover from this? This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. And then we take it, I don't know if it's just a thing about women, but we feel like it's our fault. It feels so heavy, and it can literally affect our mental health when we go through such life changes and when we don't manage them well. There are 2 things that I'd like to share that have really helped me. One, when I go through these life changes, I have to remind myself that change does not mean I am failing. I am simply learning another way to do things. I have not failed. I am learning that this has not worked. I am having an opportunity to grow and expand. It will be painful now, but I have not failed. And one of the reasons why I struggle with this concept of failing is because, our education system, you've either passed or you've failed. So I would have so much fear associated with failing. And that fear of, oh my gosh, I'm going to take home bad results. Guys, the inner child in me feels that. And when I go through such changes, this is what I battle with. And if you're finding yourself in this position, all I can say is, because of this change, it does not mean you have failed. The second mindset that really helps is that because this change is happening, it does not take away all the skills that you have learned. Everything you have learned in the past is still with you. Whatever skill you have, you still have it. You just have to change how you're applying it. And this gives you the confidence. You're not the same person that you were when you walked out of university, because now you don't have a job, or because now the income the expenses have increased. The skills that you have to make money are still with you. It's just now about changing your perspective. So for me, this mindset gives me confidence. Confidence that I still have the skills, I just have to find new ways of applying them and find new ways to do things. So whatever change you're going through, guys, please, it must be hard. I can only imagine. I do not know everyone's situation. We're all different. And when we have a different challenge, we have different skills to go through it. So we're all praying that things get better. I'm not saying don't pray, guys. We're all praying that things get better. We're trusting that God will provide for us. But the steps that I'm offered are the action steps that you can do as we continue to pray and hope for better times. If you find this interesting, I have 2 videos where one I talk about what to do if your budget doesn't work, and then I have another video where I talk about if the budget when you check in on your budget. So if these are things that you find interesting, you can go to the next videos and I'll see you there. Thank you for watching, and if you've liked this episode, please subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.